Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Walid Ali-Din, an instructional designer at the Center for Innovation on Teaching and Learning. And today we are celebrating our faculty fellows for the term for 2020-2021. We are joined today by our faculty fellows who are representing our 4 schools and colleges beside the Achievement Academy. Scheduled to speak today, Dr. Zinka Bechtik from CAD, Ms. Raja Bahlul from the Achievement Academy, Dr. Muhammad Bahrain from the College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Akmal Abdel Fattah, who is joining by pre-recorded video from the College of Engineering, and Ms. Cindy Baker from the School of Business Administration. Before we go on, let me show you our brief agenda for today. Today, I'm going to tell you briefly, very quickly about the CITL Faculty Fellows Program. Then we're going to hear from our faculty fellows, and then we're going to receive your questions. So the CITL Faculty Fellows Program was created to give faculty members at the university an opportunity to demonstrate leadership so they can lead change management activities for teaching and learning projects. They also will be able to work as liaisons between the center, the CITL, and their own colleges, departments, and schools, channeling best practices, teaching and learning issues, challenges, offer solutions, find innovative pedagogies. And all this happens through the interactions they have through their with their peers through the platform that CITL will provide. We also would like our faculty members to be able to tackle challenges and work out solutions by working with their other fellow members and working on common projects, and then they can reach solutions that can be implemented campus-wide. We'd like to give them a platform so they can bring people together and build that community of educators, that community of educators that will get the conversation going among themselves as peers, where they can exchange these valuable expertise they build being innovative instructors at AOS. So the benefits. And the benefits of being a faculty fellow, like the application for the next term will be up after this session. So the application will be on our website. You can just search for CITL space AOS on Google, and the first result will be our page on the AOS website. So the benefits of being a faculty fellow at CITL is that you can use the resources CITL gives you as a support platform for teaching and learning projects at your school. Okay, like if you resources like software licenses, resources like this platform, like the ability to go and hold an event and offer it for the entire institution. One more benefit is that you will get enrollment priority at all CITL programs. This semester, we offered the FCCR program, which is the Faculty Certification and Course Redesign program, and some of our faculty fellows got priority in enrolling in that program. That program is almost done, and we have the next 2 events will be the highlight of this program. You will receive a stipend, an annual stipend of $3,000 if you are accepted as a faculty fellow at CITL. You will also, at the end of your term, you will get an official recognition of your service. That will be the recognition is issued officially from AOS. But that comes with a long list of commitments, all right? So I'm just going to go through the commitments very quickly before we give the floor to our faculty fellows. So you will need to commit to work as a liaison. We would like that connection between the center and your own college to go through you. We would like you to come to the center with these specific interests and needs of your peers at your college identified, so we can go ahead and tackle them. We need you to be responsible for creating that collaborative network of faculty that are really committed to excellence in teaching and learning. So when we have something to implement, we will find those people who will go for it and back them up. We will need you to submit some progress report every 2 months just to tell us about your activities in your college. We would like you to come up with some recommendations for qualified moderators and panel members for our events. We would expect that you will attend all the events that CITL offers, and CITL will give you the platform to deliver 2 workshops during your term. We will be happy to see you inviting external speakers to CITL as well. And we would like you to open your class at least once for class observation as a method to show your effective teaching strategies. This commitment might need you to allocate like 3 hours per week. We would like you to see you recommending cross-disciplinary topics for our events that will go and promote active learning, student-centered learning and teaching strategies, and those evidence-based pedagogies that have been proven effective in the classroom. So I see that Dr. Zinka has joined now, and she will be our next speaker. Dr. Zinka is an associate professor and associate dean at the College of Architecture, Art, and Design. She serves at the Department of Art and Design. And Dr. Zinka, you can go ahead and take the platform right now. The floor is yours. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, Rit. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry I'm a bit late today. It's like back-to-back meetings. So I'm very excited to be here and talk about my own view on handling the, let's say, pedagogy and teaching in this online environment. I will focus on something that I'm very passionate about, and it's actually ways to build relationships with students and promoting their intrinsic motivation, which is hard enough to do in a regular kind of in-person environment, and even more difficult through the screen. But it's doable. Today I've had a great class, and I'll just try to actually make my point through an anecdote. First of all, I was informed last week that I've been selected to do a TEDx talk in the next 2 weeks, May 8th. And the topic I will be presenting is related to education. And it's actually this very same thing we're talking about here. And I'll be talking about the fact that I think the time has come that we learn from our students. And thank you so much. And today I've had a class, and I wanted to sort of walk the talk, and I've told them, and I wanted to include them in this whole process, and sort of gave them the rundown of the things that I would be talking about, and invited them to give feedback. And something they've said was that even though they haven't really met me in person, and that what I've pointed out, that I don't know all of them by name, and some of them haven't even turned on the camera all this time, they said that they did feel the empathy and a level of understanding and support, even through this screen-based environment, through my approach. So if I can draw from my experience without making it into some sort of theory, which is what we like to do as academics, and this is exactly the point of my talk, that things should be simplified to an extent. And it doesn't mean that we have to customize our teaching to cater to each of our students' individual learning styles. But I think we have this generation gap that's evident today, more so than it was before, that we need to try to bridge, and we have the responsibility to bridge. And I really don't feel, no matter how much I read and try to get a sense of what is it like to be a 20-year-old today, I can't really, or even if all of us sit down together and try to figure out what does it mean to approach them in a way that would be meaningful for them and that would motivate them, we can't really get that understanding unless we talk to them and unless we really get their feedback on the best way to approach them. So this is what I've been doing all along. And I always, even as associate dean and as a faculty, I approach students for everything, because not just through focus groups, but almost even informal conversations, asking them, how can we do this? So for example, right now we are targeting and talking to our prospective students, foundation students, emailing them and arranging these conversations. And one idea we've had from students is to create a WhatsApp group for our prospective students where they could actually interact and with one another and get to know one another before starting fall, which I thought was excellent and so simple. We haven't done it before. And yesterday I had a chance to talk to these prospective students, and I told them about the WhatsApp group idea, and their faces lit up. And none of us who are very smart, six administrators in CAD, thought of that. Students thought of that. So I really believe that we have so much to learn from them, and giving them the opportunity to engage in meaningful conversations with us, where they feel heard, respected, and free enough to voice their opinion. So today, even though we're in the middle of the class and after the class, but still the semester is going, and they, someone could say whether this would be appropriate for students or for me to sort of inject this personal aspect in this communication, because I am still to grade them. And what if they say something that might hinder my perspective of them? Nobody cared about it. It was just a beautiful moment where I've shared my vulnerability, and I said, I was joking, what if I, it's going to be live, broadcast live in 37 countries. And I said, what if I get a hiccup or something? And we were joking about it, and we all were together. And I've had really good constructive feedback. Someone said, you need to connect these things in a different way. And I wrote it all down, and I really acknowledged them. So I think by doing that, we form this connection that goes beyond the fact whether or not we teach online or we teach in person. The connections can be formed, and it's simpler than we think. And even though many can, and I've had this conversation with many colleagues, and some might, resist it because they feel that it's too much trouble, too much work. We're already overworked and we have burdened. And of course, we acknowledge that. It's a difficult task. It's a difficult job to teach, but this makes it easier, and it makes it more enjoyable, and it makes it more rewarding for us, because ultimately this is why we're here. This is our bread and butter. We do focus on our research, and that's important. But I always say that teaching is something that needs to be not just celebrated more, but we need to talk about it more. And Norita is now doing an amazing job, and everyone involved, I guess, in promoting the culture of dialogue about the ways we teach, because I feel it's always been sort of like a segregated journey, something that we're very defensive about. We don't like to talk about it. I've never, rarely, but let's say peer review or classroom observations or anything like that, that all of us should be free enough to invite one another and then get that positive critique, because if we adopt this learning mindset and we always think that it's not about what am I doing wrong, but how can I be better, then great things happen. So this is it for me, very kind of spontaneous and honest. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer or comments.
Oh, thank you very much. Everyone will have their own opportunity to ask questions at the end of the, after all our faculty fellows have given their presentation. Oh, thank you very much. And I'm actually sure that a lot of people here will come back with follow-up questions. So we'll now go ahead and move to our next speaker, and that will be Ms. Raja Malik. Ms. Raja Bahlul is a senior instructor at the Bridge program. So Ms. Raja, the floor is yours, and I understand that you have some slides to share, and I will stop sharing my screen right now to give you the floor. And
sure.
Ms. Raja, you have 7 minutes for your presentation. All right.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Zinka again for her for the TED Talk. I saw it published, Zinka, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So very briefly, I would like to start by, I'm sorry, this is the wrong, by first of all, talk about, according to instructions that we got from Norita, is how did I get here? How did I get to learn about this new initiative, and my interest in being part of this? So it all started with, of course, the call that went out, and then what triggered me is really the fact that faculty can work together to improve their own teaching, but also can be that liaison, between the center itself. At that point, it was the Faculty Development Center when I joined, and then, of course, the department or the program in my case. So I enjoyed the first meetings that was held in September, and the planning part that we did together, and meeting, of course, my fellows in other schools. Some, of course, I had known before, and some, like Zinka, for instance, that was the first time that I got a chance to meet. And then we worked on rebranding. We introduced the idea of virtual lounge series, the webinars, the workshop, and of course the course that Walid just mentioned, certification course. So first of all, let me say a little bit about who am I. So I have been teaching for more than 25 years, and before I came here, I was in Saudi Arabia, taught 5 years in King Saud University in the Institute of Public Administration, also in Riyadh. And then I joined AUS. I'm one of the pioneers, basically, in 2000, believe it or not. And of course, first under the intensive English program that was part of CAS. At that point, we used to be faculty. And then when in 2010, we moved to the Bridge program, we been relocated under the admissions office, Office of Enrollment Management, and now we are teaching staff. So I welcomed the idea of rebranding to basically include us, because the name of the Faculty Development Center does not include us as teaching staff. So with the new brand, the new name, I felt like included, we felt included, on behalf of my colleagues in the Achievement Academy. So like Zinka, I would like to echo the idea of my teaching philosophy being based on the community that I built, the relationship that I built with my students. And I've always thought that is at the forefront of my teaching. I mean, I need to build, I've also done a little bit of studies and presentation in regional conferences about this, trust building in the relationship of respect, that contact, the connection, the rapport that needs to be built between me and my students. And so I try to create that within a realm of a classroom community. So I need to create the community, the community spirit. So like she said, they know about me. They know a lot about me. They know when I'm, last week I was telling my students, oh, I need to rest because my neck started hurting me. And everybody started giving me his own, my mom does this, do this. And, and it was so sweet, as she said, it was that one of those moments that you always appreciate and cherish and feel like this is the reward of being a teacher. This is the reward that we get back as a teacher. So, and let me, also go back a bit, because Norita wanted me to focus on the fact that in our program, in the Bridge program, at least until now, and for the past 10 years, we've been teaching in a very, special program. So we are with the same student for 15 hours, which means you have one section only. So I teach one section, and that section, I'm with them for 15 hours. So I see them every day. I see them, or I virtually see them every day for 15, for either 3 hours UTR or 2 75-minute sessions. I might have mentioned this to my fellows before, but it is, quite different from what's going on in the other departments. So in fact, the relationship with these students is built, it is basically either going to be very strong because we know each other. I tell them sometimes I spend more time with you than I do with my own kids and with my husband even. So, we spend a lot of time together. Before COVID, we used to also have activities, field trips. We used to have the club, the cultural club also holds Wednesdays, football, matches, and we used to go and were encouraged to go and attend. So we actually we live with them. So without creating that community, without creating that sense of in fact family, it's very hard to accept each other. So I try to build that from week 1, week 2. I know their names. They know me, of course. They know the name of my kids. I know them. I know their brothers and sometimes their friends. So we joke, etc. And that's how I try to maintain that relationship with my students. So one thing that I have been passionate about lately is, and of course I've been teaching for so long to the point that I've noticed that the students that I had 15 years ago and 10 years ago are not the same student that I'm having now. I noticed that they are digitals, and to meet their needs, I have become less and less satisfied with myself, with my teaching pedagogies. And that's when I actually went and searched and took courses and attended conferences, etc., to be able to meet their needs. And hence came my interest also in gamification and my interest in all learning through gamification. And that's the one that also I presented with a colleague of mine. I think it was back in November. What else do I have to say? Yeah, so I try, whether that is an e-classroom or a face-to-face classroom, I try to make it as I said, a welcoming environment. I try to find the balance between being firm, and they know that I'm strict, and at the same time friendly. So because remember, our students are basically, it's a bridge between the high school and university students. So yes, they might be taking a math class or a physics class here and there, but they are still working on their language skills. So the 15 hours that they have with us is mainly to work on their English language skills.
Raja, you have 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. I'm almost done. So basically, to say that at the heart of my teaching philosophy is maintaining, no matter how long of your experience of teaching is, you are still a learner, a lifelong learner from your students and from other colleagues, and in our area of expertise, which is in my case, it's teaching language, English as a foreign or a second language. That's it. Basically, I need to stop, and thank you all for attending. And if you have questions, I'll take it later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raja. Thank you very much. I'm also like, I'm really happy that I was working with Raja during the faculty certification program, and hopefully we will see most of you when we present the participants in the FCCR program starting from next week, actually. So our next speaker is Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim, and Dr. Muhammad is an associate professor in the College of Arts and Sciences at the Department of Mass Communication. I also understand that Dr. Muhammad has some slides to share with us. Actually, beautiful slides. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen right now. The floor is yours, Professor.
Can you see my screen and my slides? No?
You have to go ahead and share them.
I did. Can you see them?
I had to present the slide that includes your picture and your name and your information. So you'll have to do them again.
Can you see my slides now, Walid?
Go ahead and share them, Professor.
I did it. Okay, try again.
Yes.
Share screen. Okay, now can you see them?
Yes. There.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. So can you hear me? Can you see me? That's fine. Okay. Let's start. First, I would like to thank the CITL Center, of course, Narita, Noor, and Walid for your inspiration, your guidance, your trust, and leadership. I know it's a busy time in the semester, and I'm happy that you can join us today, after this afternoon. So today I will talk about my teaching experience. So let me state that passion is one of the most important ingredients in my teaching. So passion for me is the energy and the engine. So equally important is the inspiration of my grandmother, Al-Hajja Al-Arifa, the knowledgeable lady. She was my first teacher. Yeah, not only people and faces, but also places played a key role in my inspiration. An example is جامعة القرويين في فاس. Fas Qarawin University, one of the oldest universities in the world, if not the oldest one, also created the imagination of the example of a scholar, of a good scholar, an alim, who naturally combines between theory and practice, applied knowledge, al-ilm al-nafi'. So this leads me to talk about my teaching philosophy. My teaching philosophy is based on what I call the 6 Ds: the disrupt, discover, design, develop, deliver, data. So disrupt, personally, I am all the time thinking to disrupt my old ways of communication, interaction, my educational content. Why? To discover myself as a facilitator, and also to discover the new technology, the new trends, etc., etc. So after that, I need to start to design by testing, prototyping my educational content, my slides, my assignments, my assessments, my activities. So after the design phase, I start developing and designing all my courses and all my teaching materials. And then the D, that stands for deliver. Here I need to also see how to find the best way to deliver my content to my students, how I can engage them, how can I make this communication between my student and me not asymmetrical but symmetrical, where when I send a message, I receive the feedback, where there is no power relationship between I am the teacher and you are the students. I am a facilitator, they are learners. And the last one is the data, where I analyze the students' performance all the time to see how can I optimize, how can I design new corrective actions to improve. So that's so far for my teaching philosophy. Now, the point is that how can I implement this philosophy into the learning spaces, al-Qarawiyyin, or learning spaces, my classes, or spaces online. So this is the challenge. That's why I think one of the ways is to understand teaching as a design science. This is the title of a book, very nice book. I will share this with my colleagues if you would like. This is a very nice book that argues that we need to have these stages and patterns of learning: acquisition, inquiry, discussion, collaboration, and at the end, the practice. So the practice for me is the most important moment in the student's journey. So now I will talk about the technology. Oh, the technology. As you know, maybe some friends, my colleagues, my kids, they know that I am really an early adopter when it comes to the technology. I would like to use technology in my private life, personal life, and also my professional. But in the context of the COVID-19, I realized it. I came to the conclusion I fully realized how naive I was. So that's why technology can be a panacea or can be a problem. That's very important. It is a panacea if we appropriate, if we adopt the technology and use it as a silo in our teaching experience. So that's why for me, I see technology from a 6 helix model, where the technology is one component among other components. So the facilitators, the learners, the technology, the place, the space, if it's online, the content, the delivery, all these create a synergic dynamic where we have the production of knowledge, the distribution of knowledge, the consumption of knowledge between the facilitator and the community of learners, the students. I like to use the term learners because I'm a facilitator. So this 6 helix model is very important because it creates the synergy and the blending, and all of us we would like to do blending learning and blending teaching. So let me now revise the Bloom's taxonomy. So here for me, we all know these taxonomies or classification categories, but for me the most important one is to create. Creation. Yeah? To create. That's very important. How can I do this? I have a strategy. So I would like briefly speak about the social technographics, which is a way to segment or to create types of the learners. So important for me now are the inactives and the creators. My objective is to convert my students from an inactive stage or participant to be creators. This is very important. And how I'm doing this also by encouraging collaboration among my students. It's very important to encourage the collaboration. Yeah. So I use also what I call creative funnel. Some of you, we use a marketing funnel or purchase funnel. So it is a kind of how we move from one stage to another using all the things. When I design an assignment, assessment, class activities, I use the creative funnel. So I move my students from the level of understanding to the level of creativity. So at the end, my students will gain what I call the 3 C's. The 3 C's are creative, confidence, and competence, the skills. At the end, as I said, I need all the time to use the data to identify, to analyze the performance of my students. So I use also what I call the maturity model. So for me, the students, when I measure my learning outcomes, so if the students reach the creative stage, which means my teaching is effective.
Professor, you have 1 minute.
1 minute. Let me now conclude my presentation by talking about my CTC, my C2C, which is the cognitive diversity, the thinking tools, and the creative confidence. When I assign, when I design, when I create any assignment, any assessment, any class activity, any class project, or even any client project, I devote 50% of all these activities to the creative, because creativity is what we should really care about. And I think I am done with my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any question.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor Muhammad. That was really inspiring. I think it's something that we enjoy here at the university, is that a lot of people have different teaching styles and different teaching strategies, and it's really important to hear about all these. And then our next speaker is Dr. Akmal Abdel Fattah. Dr. Akmal is a professor in at the College of Engineering, Department of Civil Engineering. Unfortunately, Dr. Akmal was not able to attend physically to today, so he recorded a video, and I'm going to go ahead and share that video with you right now.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to apologize to all of you for missing this panel due to changes in the schedule for the graduate course that I'm teaching. The course was supposed to be 6 to 9 p.m. And regular times. In Ramadan, it's supposed to be 9 to midnight or 8:30 to 11:30, but some students live outside of UAE, and the timing was very hard for them, so we ended up agreeing on the class time to be 3 to 6 p.m. So that's why I missed this panel. Regarding my participation with the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, I started my participation as a faculty fellow in the faculty fellow program representing engineering in the past fall in September 2020. It has been very good experience working with the colleagues from the other colleges and school, and with Dr. Norita as the director of the center. We started with the Faculty Development Center, if you recall the old name. We worked on the rebranding of the center. Specifically, we tried to understand what are the objectives of the center, what are the services that the center is planning to offer. And based on that, we came up with different names and different discussions on this, and we ended up with the new name for the center to be the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. Through the academic year, I have learned a lot of information from my colleagues who presented in different discussions and different presentations regarding teaching. And my main concern in teaching is regarding the cheating. Students, when they cheat in exams and quizzes and homeworks and so on, they just take grades that they don't deserve. And I have done some research on that issue with colleagues from engineering, and it was surprising that the students perceive that about more than 75% of the students cheat on assignments or out of class assignments in general, homework or project or whatever. While we have about 25% of this, that's the students' perception themselves, saying that about 25% of the students cheat on exams. I believe these are very high, and I have been concerned with these. And during the pandemic, it becomes much harder because the students are so good with the technology when it comes to get around the technology. So using the respondents for proctoring the exam was not enough, so I started to apply a Google Meet session in parallel with the respondents lockdown browser. In that case, the students would get the benefit of having a contact with me during the exam. So if they are confused about a question and they need a clarification or so, I can easily provide them with that. And I have another way for proctoring the exam because the environment check, some students would do it superficial during the lockdown browser exams. They just move the camera around, show the wall behind them or whatever, so they don't show their disk space and so on clearly. And that becomes a dispute. The students would make whatever excuses for that. So I started to use that system for the exams. I benefited from that. I can talk to the students. If I see some of them doing some weird activities, I can name the student and say, student X, move your phone camera to see what you have on your desk. What do you have on your computer screen? And that was helpful to me in that case. The other issue that I learned from the presentations done with the center, the take-home exams. I designed a take-home exam similar to one of our colleagues in business who presented a procedure for that. I did similar exam on take-home exams where I designed different data sets for the students, had within each data set some values in the Excel sheet that would tell me if the student has cheated or not. In addition to that, I have also tried something before the pandemic, which I would suggest that those of you who are interested can try this later on, which is the flipped class. I was recording my classes already before the pandemic. So after doing that for a couple of years, I had enough recordings for all my classes that I teach, all the courses that I teach, on a Monday and UTR schedule. So Monday, Wednesday, or UTR schedule. So I started to give the students a video of the lecture before they come to class. They watch it at home. They come to class. I allow them about 5 to 10 minutes for questions to clarify any issues that they are confused about from the video. And then I assign them some exercises that they do in class. Divide the students into groups. The groups are 3 to 4 students. I insist on shuffling the groups every time, so there is no group that's consistently meeting with each other every time. And the students would start discussion about the problems or the assignments that I give them to them in class. I go from one group to another, make sure everybody is working, everybody is trying to understand. And it was surprising to me that one of the senior students was taking a course in his last semester, and he told me that it's his first time to solve problems by himself outside of the classes, outside of the exam, sorry. So he said I was always copying my assignments and then go to the exam and try my best and just pass with whatever grade. So that was my first time that I am forced to do the work myself. That helped me to get more interaction with the students, get where the deficiencies are in their understanding clarified to them in a better way. I guess now with the pandemic that all of us have the recordings, it becomes later on easier, inshallah, when we get back to the face-to-face interaction with the students. This can be a useful tool that many of us can apply, or different teaching method that many of us can use, because we all now recording our classes. So we have recordings for our lectures and we can use them for future offerings of our courses. I stop here for the sake of time. And again, I would like to apologize for everyone for missing this session. And I hope to see all of you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goes to Dr. Akmal, and it's really nice to see how challenges and threats are converted into opportunities. We have listened to the challenges and probably the threats that the pandemic brought over our teaching, and then this threat or challenge became an opportunity to look for solutions and innovations, and also it gives us that platform to go out and seek probably advice or collaboration with some of our peers. And that brings me to the next and final speaker for today, and that will be Ms. Cindy Baker from the School of Business and Administration. Ms. Cindy Baker is a senior instructor at the Department of Management, and the floor is yours, Cindy. And tell me if you need to share your screen.
Thanks, Waleed. No, I don't need to share my screen. I'm good. Well, hello, everyone. I am going to take a little bit of a different approach with my 7 minutes and just talk why I got involved with the Faculty Fellows program. It's really two-pronged for me. The first was that I wanted to give back to the academic community. I recognized really quickly when we had to go online last year that I have a comfort with technology that others don't have. When we had the 48-hour window and we were told that we needed to go online, I remember one faculty here in the business school, he said, well, wow, I really don't even know what iLearn is, and I've never accessed it before. and I don't know how to use it. And so I know that that's an extreme example, but whenever I was thinking about putting the faculty on a continuum, he's going to be the far example of not understanding technology or iLearn. And I realized that I am probably on the opposite end of that continuum. I'm very comfortable with technology. I'm very comfortable with exploring technology. And so in that 48 hours, whenever we were told that we need to go online, we still had a couple of weeks where faculty were on campus, but the students weren't. And I recognized then how much I could offer to other faculty, the questions that I could answer, the ways that I could help them. It was just an opportunity for me to give back to the academic community and hopefully bridge the gap between where many of our faculty are and where our students are, because our students are so comfortable with technology. So hopefully I'm helping to maybe step by step and slowly help to bridge that gap. And so that was one aspect of the Faculty Fellows program. And then the other aspect was a little bit more about myself. When we had this announcement, we're going online so quickly, I think that really worked to spur discussion with anyone and everyone. It was a bit of a cry for help. Oh my goodness, how do we do this? And I remember having a conversation with Brad, and I think he's actually on today. But Brad, he teaches in CAS, I teach in SBA. And if it wasn't for a group of us that go running together, I wouldn't even know Brad. Our paths certainly would not have crossed. And so we're having a conversation while we're running one day. And I was particularly curious because Brad is a teacher as well as a student, an online student. And he offered some really great ideas from his experience as an online student. And I was able to mold those to my course content. It worked out really, really well. And as I started to research some of these teaching methodologies, I recognized that what he was sharing with me is really, really common in the arts and sciences, but not at all in business. And so I'm thinking, so often whenever we talk about work, we talk about it with our colleagues. For me, if I'm going to talk about work, if I'm going to take a deep dive into work, it's going to be with other faculty in the business school. It's not often that I take a deep dive with people in other colleges. So I have these conversations and effectively I'm creating a bit of an echo chamber because the only people that I really talk to are the people in the business school. And being a part of the Faculty Fellows has allowed me to really break out of that. And so with CITL, I'm dialoguing with people from different disciplines. They have different styles, different approaches, different content, different types of course material. It's been great. It's been great. I've been able to break out of the business school mold, if you will. And so CITL, it's provided a great platform to learn, to discuss, to also just be able to take that deep dive where we can ask a lot of very detailed questions on the way people teach or how they teach or, philosophies or assessments, anything. And so that's been great. I've got names, I've got people I can reach out to now. I've got a much, much larger toolkit to use with my students in the classroom. So for me, that's what CITL and the Faculty Fellows has offered. It's been valuable on a personal level, but also on a community level. I would definitely encourage others to join. It's been a great experience. So that's it for me, Wally.
Oh, thank you very much. We're also happy to have you and the rest of you, actually. Thank you very much for taking the time to give us this valuable feedback. And I would like to invite all of you who haven't been part of the Faculty Fellows program so far to go ahead, take a look at the application. The application is or will be very soon available on our webpage at the AOS website. As I told you, you can find us easy if you go to Google and Google CITL space AOS, or go to the AOS website and search for CITL. Now the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions to any of our panelists, if you have any questions about the Faculty Fellow program, please go ahead, come to the microphone, and let's hear from you, from the people who have been silent since the beginning of this event. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Our panelists will be happy to answer any of the questions, except for Dr. Akmal, who probably you'll have to send him the questions by email. Okay, we still have time. I wish I have given that time to our panelists, except of going to the microphone and teasing and probably annoying them. You have 1 minute, you have 2 minutes. Okay, so Igor, I see that you have opened your microphone. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, well, most of the question, I want to say thank you to all the fellows for the explanation, because last year when we received the invitation to participate, we were motivated, but we have doubts about, how much time is consumed. Actually, I talked to the dean, and, I'm really interested in this program. It looks exciting. He said, okay, but maybe, maybe it consumes so much time and this or whatever we had to discuss. And now I saw the result, and I'm very happy. I want to say, because of course, Dr. Cinca, she's in my faculty in CAT, so I am very happy because she's very near. And somehow when I didn't apply for the fellow, but they said, okay, the redesign course came out, and I said, redesign course is a good opportunity. And I joined the course, and I really have to say thank you to Norita and Walid and Nur, because it has been a wonderful course. That next week we are going to explain the result of the course. And I have to say that I talked to Professor Cinca about the redesign course, and she said, oh, this is wonderful. I will help you whatever you need. Everything is, you can come to me anytime and any doubt. And I think I appreciate that. But I feel that it's not the same with all other colleagues. When you talk to other colleagues and you say, I'm doing this, they look at you like, okay, what are you doing that? What is the reason? They don't understand. So my question is more, okay, we always now in this online platform, we are working so hard to motivate the students, and we are, doing this big effort of teaching online. But also now our colleagues also are online, so we are not physically with them. And somehow also they don't understand much what we're doing, the redesign course or all the activities of the CITL. So I don't know, I wanted to ask Professor Cinca, because I think this is the most I know, but how we can expand this, for example, that other professor will motivate to apply for the fellow or the new redesign course. I think she has been doing a big effort, through LinkedIn, I'm following and see every activities and the things, but I don't feel with the other colleagues the same motivation. I don't know how many people from CAL will apply to the next fellow or to the next redesign course.
Thank you, Igor. Walid, can I answer?
Of course, I actually muted myself and hidden myself for you. Go ahead. Okay,
so yes, and that's a very valid point. And obviously talking about, students' well-being, and that has been all of our priority, and ensuring that we implement the right teaching strategies to ensure meaningful learning. The main component is the faculty, and providing the right kind of nurturing, supportive environment, and right incentives and encouragement, which I think in CAD at least, and I'm not sure, I can't speak for other colleges or school, hasn't really happened. But, at the same time, we were all struck by this, and I think we've adapted in a great way. But we could have maybe had a little bit more incentives where people would come together and collaborate or exchange ideas. So I think in the future, this is something that CITL can definitely help promote, this culture of exchange and dialogue, which I've mentioned before, and understanding that design of the course obviously is the primary element that is like a pillar on everything, with everything else resides, like class instruction, and then classroom management. So this is something, again, that we need to, I think it needs to be built bottom up. because as we know, policies that are implemented top down, of course, it's something we all respect and abide by. But if there's no buy-in from the faculty, if there's no personal investment and understanding why it would be beneficial to revisit the course design or learning outcomes or whatever it is that's found not necessarily not to be working, but that could be enhanced, it needs to be kind of a spontaneous and organic discussion that really comes from the individual faculty. And we as administrators or any administrator, I guess, in any college or school, we need to provide platforms. And I think CITL, again, is a great place for everyone to get involved and for to lead the way with these conversations. And I really hope it's going to grow with the community, in the community, in terms of the importance and the impact it has. And we're all part of this, whether we're fellows or not. And maybe making it in a more, I would suggest, through some informal events, so that it's really all about this natural exchange and conversations on things that can be improved, rather than just going through a formality, which I think we're all, again, overburdened with service work and loads and different things, and approaching a conversation from that way will for sure help getting it in the right direction.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Igor. Thank you very much, Dr. Zinka, and congratulations again for the invitation to speak at TED.
Thank you so much.
That's actually really wonderful. All right. As a follow-up on the course redesign issue, is that it's not an issue, it's just the course redesign activity that we do in CITL, and this is the faculty certification and course redesign program, and we are wrapping up the first cohort, and before fall we will going to be announced the next one. And I would like also to encourage everyone to go ahead and take the time and read about the program when we publish the new program description on our website. We have many people who attended today. They took part in the program. Dr. Muhammad Bahrain, Sandy Baker, and Igor and Raja, all those people actually attended, and we'll see them presenting either next week or the week after. Here we are again, asking you if you have any questions from the people who attended this session. Go ahead. We still have time, not much time. We actually just ran out of time, but we still can hang on for like a couple of minutes if you have like questions that you would like to ask us or any of the panelists we had today. All right, looks like we are done with the session today, and I would like to thank you again, everyone who presented and everyone who honored us by showing up today, and we meet next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.